Hey guys, what is up? Sora here, back with another Shadowverse video. And today is the start of a brand new series called Ceres' Corner. Essentially, the community feedback video that I'm going to be trying to do once every 2 weeks or so to respond to the YouTube comments as well as the Reddit comments that I've received over the last period, right? So if it's every 2 weeks, then I pick up some of the best comments over the last 2 weeks. And most of them are going to be questions, if not all of them. And this is something I've been wanting to do on this channel for a while because a lot of Shadowverse videos that I see just showcase the decks. Maybe some of them talk through it. But not a lot of them really respond to the comments that people are making that are really valid questions about whether it's the state of Shadowverse or specifics about the deck or anything else in between. And I wanted to kind of try to put my hand into that, see if I can make this a conversation, make this channel a conversation between me and you guys, right? So normally I would be doing this over, when I was thinking about this, I would be doing this over gameplay videos of just gameplay running in the background while I record. But as you guys see on the date below, today's July 4th. So I have a pretty good holiday and it was a bad work week. Honestly, bad work week and a half. And I was feeling lucky this morning for various reasons. So I am going to go one last time as I talk through these questions, open up Chronogenesis packs in order to get Cerberus, or in hopes of getting the Cerberus leader card. As you guys might know, if you guys are relatively frequent viewers of mine, you guys know that Shadow is my main class, and that I have been hunting for this leader card for so long that it's not even funny. But this is going to be, I said this in the last video, but truly, given the life situation of July is actually going to be pretty busy for me. This is probably going to be the last time I try for Cerberus, because in the upcoming months I probably will not have that much of a flexible income to splurge on inefficient pack openings. So, with all that being said, even if we don't get Cerberus today, at the very least, I get to answer questions for you guys, and it's still a contribution to the community. Insert justification of opening packs here. By the way, I want to, before I go buy the packs, and it'll show up on the screen, I want to give a shout out to my featured comment for the past week, which was coming from Fading Fire. He commented on the dragon video no, it wasn't the dragon video, it was on the shadow video that I got hit by the Jabber, which was the Jabberwock play. So that's pretty sick. I am going to use that in future videos. Thank you, man, for watching, and this one's for you. Alright, so let's go through some questions here as I open some packs. I haven't opened a daily deal yet, so let's start with that. Question 1 from Ryan Pia. He is asking, what are the T1 decks right now? And this is actually not exclusive to him. It is coming from a lot of people that have asked, especially this early in the meta, what are the T1 decks right now? And the answer to that is not that simple either. The answer is it's constantly moving. Tenko Haven obviously has the big target on its back, and I think everyone will say that Tenko Haven is roughly up there. And even within Tenko Haven, there's a lot of subcategories that you have to consider. Some of them have Summit Temple. Some of them, I've seen, believe it or not, I've seen a hybrid Lion Tenko Haven. So there's a lot of movement even in that, just in that category for right now. So, but Haven is a pretty good list. Tenko Haven, I'll link to some of the decks down below, by the way, as I talk about them. But yeah, I definitely believe that Tenko Haven is top. Mid-range Sword, I believe, is also top because it's very anti-meta right now. Or rather, a very good counter to Tenko Haven is what I meant by anti-meta. given the fact of Charlotta, Round Table, Vayne. Those cards are really establishing a good mid-game for Sword that is relatively hard to counter. So a lot of people are also veering towards Sword, and they also have Zeta, who combined with Beatrix also offers late game storm damage. So there's that as well. Other T1 decks to consider. Other than those two, Lionhaven, of course. How can I forget Lionhaven? But I kind of already mentioned it. Lionhaven is probably the cheapest T1 deck right now. Maybe next to Aggro Forest, who is also another T1 deck. But Lionhaven runs like 3 legendaries, and those 3 legendaries are even optional. 6 legendaries, I guess. 6 legendaries, 3 of them being Bacon John, and then optional 3 legendary fighter. So you can run that. Aggro Force, super good. They didn't need help from Brigade of the Sky at all. All they needed was Storied Falconer, and that was it. And they were good to go. So yeah, Aggro Forest, Lionhaven, Senko Summit, whatever Haven, mid-range Sword. Stuff that's creeping up is probably some form of dragon. Jabberwock Dragon, I would say, is kind of getting into T1-ish range, give or take. And I'll talk more about that sort of stuff later. But to answer your question, Ryan Pia, there's your T1 deck list. Nosanosuke asks, is Plague City the god of misplays? It's actually hilarious. So there was this, I'll let this pack open before I fully answer this question. There was this Reddit thread posted earlier this morning before I recorded this video, right? That was talking about why everyone was not playing Plague City, because it's actually really good. And Plague City right now is going well with Arc of Shadow, given that you get the additional value of the ghosts that turn into zombies. So you get like 4 power on the board for just a 2-drop. Plague City right now, the one that was posted on Reddit earlier, was actually featuring a misplay of a Haven player who was playing a Garuda control deck. And he played Garuda into Plague City with 3 amulets on the board. Those amulets pop because that's the fanfare effect. But the 3 damage effect that you get from Garuda is actually part of the card, not part of the fanfare. So Garuda then turns into a zombie, turning off that effect, and you just essentially pop amulets for nothing. That was actually really funny to see. Long story short, I think Plague City is just the first card of its type right now. You have to give people credit, they don't know all of the interactions yet, or not a lot of people do. It's only week 1, actually. So it's gonna cause a lot of misplays, is what I'm saying. Damester13 asks, why does mid-sword deck run round table assembly? Is it better than running Barbarossa? First of all, I like Barbarossa. If you guys watch any of my mid-range sword videos in Dawnbreak Night Edge, Barbarossa never left that deck. I have full faith in Barbarossa because he is a solid sword legend that just keeps on generating value for you. But right now, and this is coming back to the T1 decks earlier, Roundtable Assemblies with Charlotta and Mars is, I think, borderline too powerful. Not gonna say OP, just too powerful. Charlotta, there was a thread on Reddit, there's a thread going on Reddit right now as I'm recording this, where they say it's an unpopular opinion Charlotta is very detrimental to Sword, right? Because it's too strong, too good, Evo effect that gets you the Queen Magnus, the black effect, that shouldn't exist. I don't agree with that, although again I can see where he's coming from. But I think combined with Mars and Roundtable Assembly, the more quote-unquote criminal thing about Charlotta that I would say right now is actually the fact that she's a commander and not an officer, because she gets pulled by Roundtable Assembly that way. That, I think, is too powerful. Because on turn 5, imagine on turn 5, you have a Charlotta on the board and a Mars on board, maybe even a follower on the board. Charlotta gets buffed by Mars, she becomes a 4-6 upon Evo, 5-6, and then gets 1 power after swinging into something. even if you can deal with the Charlotta, and a lot of decks will already have a problem with that, even if you can deal with the Charlotta, you still have Mars in the back, and it's going to be their turn 6. That can mean any number of things. That can mean they get to double the effect by playing Queen Magnus to black with the Enhanced Chromatic Duel, for example. They can play Cthulhu to control your board, and then you're forced to deal with Mars without being able to deal with Arthur. Or heck, they can evolve another Charlotta again, play another 3-drop, and that 3-drop slot for Sword is really, really strong. So, it's... on paper, Roundtable Assembly into Mars and Charlotta isn't the strongest thing in the world, but given everything else in the meta right now, if you view this not in a vacuum, if you view everything that other decks can do on turn 5, then you can see why that combo is really, really strong. So right now, I do highly recommend, if you're going to play mid-sword, to run that package. Next, from Kevin Montes Durango from still YouTube, does Dragon have another archetype? So, it's actually funny because from Dawnbreak Night Edge, right? Dawnbreak Night Edge, there were Lindworm PDK, and Ramp Dragon, and then some other variants here and there. Because of the loss of Sybil and because of the loss of Dragon Scyther and other cards, I do think that Dragon right now is fairly limited. And there's 2 that are prominent right now for Dragon. Those are going to be... and I'm going to wait for this stack to open before I answer that. Those are going to be Jabberwock Dragon and Lindworm Dragon. Lindworm Dragon, you guys already saw, and I'm actually working on a list that incorporates Pyworm Commander. This was inspired from a video that I saw from the Jor Dude, and I'm kind of taking cues from his video to try to create my own Lindworm Dragon list. And then there's Jabberwock. Jabberwock right now became really powerful because of one card, and that is Lyria. Lyria, the gold card, the one that summons Bahamut. So, first of all, summoning Bahamut is never a bad thing, right? On turn 8, you have a guaranteed board clear with a follower that sticks on the board. That sticking on the board part is pretty dang strong, because all they need to do is board wipe you somewhere close on the turn 8-9 range, play Lyria, have it stick, and then on their turn 10 play one other follower, Jabberwock. They have all of a sudden 2 things that can swing, most likely the Zoe 11 drop version, that can swing 14 to face out of nowhere. So right now, against Dragon, or against Jabberwock Dragon, it's actually pretty hard to play against it, because you have to consider, okay, do they have the Jabberwock in hand? And should I trade my, let's say, 7/7 Mordecai against this Dragon Summer that is just a 1/2 to prevent him from playing Jabberwock that turn? Kind of just set up the board rather than set up for lethal next turn. That's a really tricky play to play against. Like, you'd have to make a good Galaxy Brain read for your 7/7 to swing intentionally into a 1/2, losing out on 7 damage to face just to prevent the Jabberwock play. Really, really strong. I think, I wish I could run Jabberwock myself. Unfortunately, I do not have any of the card. And also, he's a Wonderland Dreams card, so I'd rather not crack him. That is my second Arya. I'd really rather not crack Jabberwock right now, so... But I'm looking forward to all of the players that are playing that deck, because I think that deck is really, really fun. Okay, now we're getting into the Reddit questions. Jin Usagi from Reddit says, I have a hypothetical question. It's your turn 3, and I love these questions by the way. It's your turn 3, and you have both Valzi and Roundtable Assembly in hand, and your opponent plays turn 3 White Fang into turn 4 Tenko Shrine. For your turn 5, this is assuming I'm going first, I'm guessing, which would be the better option? Valzi 5 play point Holy Pure Bomb, or playing Roundtable Assembly for a chance of getting Charlotta? Extremely good question, probably my favorite question of the week. So it ultimately depends on a lot of things, on whether RTA is the better call rather than just playing Holy Pure Bomb, right? Both of them are valid choices on turn 5, by the way. I would base this decision whether you already have a follower on the board. as kind of to dumb this down a little bit, because it can mean there's a whole slew of factors that you can consider when making this decision. If you already have a follower on the board, I would probably veer towards the round table play. And this is assuming that you're going to get Charlotta and Mars. Or there's a good chance of you to get Charlotta and Mars. Because if you already have a follower on the board, that means that you can potentially end the game or make a really strong tempo play on turn 5 while also dealing face damage before they get to set up their DLFs, their extra White Fang Temple, and stuff like that. Especially even if you already foresee a turn 6 play where you're going to put more followers on the board and you can protect them as well. So in that sense, if you already have a good momentum from your turn 3 heading into your turn 6, I would be playing Charlotta. If you do not have a follower on the board, then it gets a little bit more nuanced. Heaven and Light number 6, I think, right there. It gets a little bit more nuanced at that point, because it then becomes, okay, do I play around the Tenko Shrine and get rid of it right now, but I'm potentially going to play into Sternhind on turn 5 that I'd have a hard time answering, or do I still play the Mars Charlotta anyway? Mars Charlotta is still good on turn 5 even without followers on the board. It's just not as strong, especially against Haven. So the way I would construct this is, if you do not have a good turn 6, in this particular scenario, we don't have any followers on the board, I would actually go for the Holy Pure Bomb. If you do have a good turn 6, then I would go for Charlotta. The last factor here is whether you already drew into Charlottas and Mars. If you already drew into 2 of your Charlottas, then I wouldn't play RTA in that situation. I would actually play Holy Pure Bomb, because the likelihood of you just drawing into 2 Mars, even though they're powerful, you don't get that effect and you're kind of wasting the Evo. I would just go for the Holy Pure Bomb, play for the long game, especially because you do have the Charlottas already in hand that you can play on turn 6 and protect something else. So there's kind of the long-winded answer. Short answer here, 60% of the time I would play Charlotta, maybe even 7, or Round Table Assembly, 70% of the time, 60, 70. 30% of the time I would play Holy Pure Bomb. So there's that. Hope for Cynics from Reddit asks, you also mentioned optimizing with Ceres for mid-reanimate Shadow. This is referencing a Dawnbreak Night Edge video, by the way. Do you still feel that way, or is Corpse Lord still your go-to? So mid-reanimate Shadow was my favorite deck out of all the decks I created back in Dawnbreak Night Edge, because I had real fun with that deck. I felt that it was very, very malleable, very, very versatile in the meta where it could win more than one way, right? Right now, and Ceres is one of my favorite cards, one of my top 5 actually. I don't feel that Ceres is... I feel that Ceres is necessary evil, and that's unfortunate. Because Ceres isn't that great in pressuring early. So if you run Ceres, you're kind of pigeonholing yourself into a more control style build, which unfortunately a lot of Shadow needs right now. Every Shadow deck right now needs setup. And of course every deck needs setup, but every Shadow deck right now needs like turn 8, turn 9, turn 10 setup. Because of Fairy, because of Mordecai, because of Arcus. Even Arcus, which is arguably the most aggressive out of all of them, even he needs setup, because he can go... That deck cannot go off before turn 7, because they need Arcus. Which is the problem. Really, it's like... You have to play Ceres in order to survive, however, she's just a 1-3 on the board that doesn't even play that well against Tenko Shrine. And you have to consider Tenko Shrine every time you build a deck nowadays, by the way. Because they don't have to swing into Ceres, they can just play like a Cernian Lighthind on turn 5, and with a White Fang Temple on turn 3 to destroy your Ceres immediately. Which is actually pretty disheartening, honestly. That's why I don't like Ceres as much. It's because it's a relatively weak turn 4-5 play against Haven right now. And so is actually Corpse Lord because of the banish, but that's another story. But if you're going to run Shadow right now, I think you at least need 2 Ceres in your deck, main boarded, You can probably even go for 3. There's a really good argument to go for 3. And personally, I don't like it because I'm kind of getting pigeonholed to control rather than actually trying to go for a more mid-rangey style, more versatile style. If you guys haven't noticed yet, I like toolbox decks the most. So there's that. There's that little bit of mini rant right there. To directly answer the question, again, Ceres is necessary, 2 of 3 of in every deck. That is mainstream Shadow right now. Last question before I open this last pack. Made this account for questions from Reddit. I don't play Dragon, but I've heard a lot of my friends complain about Star Phoenix. Do you think it's a good card for the archetype? That's actually a very interesting question. Star Phoenix, and last 9 by the way. We have opened a legendary in every single 10 pack, so I'm not going to complain. I've heard a lot of my friends complain about Star Phoenix. I'm not sure whether complaining because it's underpowered or overpowered. Let me say that for the record right now. I'm going to assume it's because it's overpowered, because it constantly returns, right? My thing about Star Phoenix is that it doesn't support either archetype right now that's relatively doing well in ranked. And like I said, that's Jabberwock and Lindworm. For Lindworm, it's not a spell, even though it kinda plays thematically that you get to return it into your hand from a spell. A 3-drop 2/2 isn't the best thing in the world, even with Rush. So yes, there is some recursion value, yes, it's still a good card, but I think there's much better cards in that 3 slot. For example, Adramalik and even Adrabak is kinda questionable at this point. Force of the Dragon Newt. Roy, Dragon Blade Roy. What else? There's also just more ramp that you can play, or curving into Zoe plus another 2-drop like a Feline, for example. So you can do that. There's plenty of things right now that, and this is a pretty fire. This is a pretty fire opening right now, by the way. There's plenty of things that you can run at that 3 slot that I don't think really justifies running Star Phoenix in that slot. So right now in my Lindworm deck, actually I have, since coming from Igni's video, I have since dropped Star Phoenix, and I'm running the Pyworm Commander. I think I already mentioned this earlier. And I'm also making a lot more fundamental changes to the deck. That 3 slot for me is kind of filler at this point in the Dragon deck. So there is that. To fully answer the question, I don't think it's a good card for the archetype right now. It may see play once mid-range comes back because it gets a lot more value there. But for right now, unfortunately, I don't think Star Phoenix is quite cutting it. Oh, that's a nice Summit Temple. Alright, let's open the last few packs here. I don't think Ceres is coming home. We'll have to wait until my theory hopefully comes through, where Chronogenesis rotates out and they'll become available in the shop. But I still have more stuff to mention after this, guys, so let's just finish this pack opening. I'm actually happy because we opened relatively a lot of legendaries. I think 6 legendaries out of this opening right now? Yeah, 6 legendaries, so it's not terrible, at the very least. I have to save this for... I have to save this for Brigade. I cannot spend that for... I cannot spend that for Chrono as much as I want to. Alright, so there you guys have it. That is the first Ceres' Corner. Hope you guys enjoyed that. And like I said, I'm looking forward to doing more of these videos in the future. My next upload schedule for the next week and even throughout July, I'm going to be cutting back on the full-length videos. Don't worry, there will still be videos uploaded daily or close to daily on this channel. And the only reason for that is because I'm going to be really busy. First of all, I'm going to be trying to grind to GM, and I need to play decks that I know I have a pretty good handle on. No one wants to see me talk about the same deck over and over and over again. Like if I run mid-range sword, for example, no one wants to see that. Or I keep hammering this point down that Zeta's a good card, Zeta's a good card. So what I'm going to do instead for those videos is I'm going to be playing the similar to the preview deck that you guys saw of Hinterland, the Hinterland Shadow Brew that I'm still currently making, where I play music on top of it, and I will still answer questions, of course, every time you guys comment maybe even in this type of video. And I really, really do appreciate everyone that commented. But yeah, 3 full videos, and the rest will probably be those kind of music videos, for the lack of a better term, and just raw gameplay. The next decks that are going to come up on this channel are going to be Mid-Range Forest. I do want to try my hand on that. I have relatively a good amount of pieces on that. I'll actually show you. Maybe we can even craft the Corvus at this point. But I'm just missing the Corvo right now and 1, maybe 2 of the Green Glen Axemen. I'm still not sure whether I'm gonna run the King Elephant in this slot, but this is what that deck is currently looking like. I'm also gonna run Arc of Shadow, featuring of course Lake City. And I'm going to try my hand on Burn Rune, because as I was getting bodied last night by Tenko, I think there was a rune deck that sneaked in there, maybe even 2 rune decks that sneak in there, that was actually running Silverblade Golem. I'm gonna pull him up here. Silverblade. Yeah, that was actually running Silverblade Golem in the deck. I have been a fan of this card. I have it starred because I had full faith in this card. I'm looking forward to playing SPG, because I do think the card has potential. Now that we're about to see the rotation out of Wizardess, it's time to explore other avenues of Burn Rune. I might actually also run Urlumaya in the deck, although that's kind of a little bit more iffy given that, yeah, no, that's a Nombo, I guess. No, never mind, no Urlumaya in that deck. But yeah, I want to run SPG in a future deck. But yeah, that's about it, guys. Thank you guys for watching. I'm tempted to open this with Chrono Packs. Are we that type of player? Are we legitimately that type of player? Because it doesn't really make sense for me to run crystals and then not run. You know what? Stupid decisions. These are the decisions you guys should not make. Whether it's spending packs, spending rupees, these are the decisions you guys should not make. I really, really do want Ceres, or Cerberus, I should say, but I'm not pulling after this anymore. This is the last 8 that you're getting from me, Cerberus. My lucky number 8. And I do want to say, as we close this video out, thank you guys. I've seen the jump in activity over the last week. When you guys were commenting on my videos, you guys made me laugh. You guys made me help me go through this horrible, horrible work week. I know this video is already long, but I do want to really stress the high amount of thanks as we build this community over this channel. Hopefully we get to do this in future days, weeks, months, years to come. And until then, this has been Sora. I'm signing it the card over. Thank you guys for watching, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace, guys.